Hi, it's Melissa from Seafarers Cookbook. Today I'm going to share with you a little bit about my experience being a merchant mariner, how I got into it, how I found out about it, where I go, what kind of ships I work on, how much I make, all those kind of things, the questions that I get asked most. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how did you find out about this? How did you get into this? Which I was a chef and a chef instructor before I got into working on ships. So it was, I have a lot of experience in cooking. I always wanted to work either on a ship or a train, but I didn't really want to do the yacht route. That's really not for me, I don't think. And the cruise ships are usually foreign flagged and they don't make a lot of money. That was just never, I kind of learned like what the wages were and I was like, that's not for me. So I was working and as an instructor at Le Cordon Bleu and I got laid off and I was devastated because I love that job so much. And then I got a couple jobs that really didn't click very well, and then I saw on an alumni from my culinary school, they had a job board, and there was an advertisement for Seafarers International Union. So I called. I said, "Hey, I'm interested," and they sort of gave me the rundown, told me what I could make and what I had to do, and I talked to my husband about it, and we're both like, "This is it." So I went through the process of getting my merchant mariner credential and doing everything to join the union, and then I started sailing, and I have really enjoyed it ever since. A lot of questions about what kind of ships I work on. I can work on anything. I work for a union, so they represent about 300 ships. So they're all different. They all go to different places. I could work on a container ship. I could work on a tanker, on what's called a row, where they roll the equipment on and off. Maybe it's heavy equipment, maybe it's cars. They're on a articulated barge. There's all different kinds of ships. There's ones that carry like coal or flour, all different kinds of stuff. So it all depends. And how I do that is I would go to the union and see what's available, what jobs are available. I sail as a chief cook. I am certified through the union as a chief cook. So I would say, okay, this is, I'm ready to go to work, and whatever jobs are available that I qualify for in, certification and seniority, then they'll say, okay, this is the job. And I'll say, okay, well, I want to know a couple things. How much am I going to make? Because all the contracts are a little bit different. Where am I going? What am I going to, is there, how many people am I going to be working with? Because a lot of that depends on what the ship is, how much work I have to do. There's a lot of different factors that either make it a job for me or a job not for me. And you kind of have your pick of what you'd like to do. So another question I get asked is, where do I go? I could go anywhere in the world, literally. I have been doing this for about 2.5 years now. It's May of 2020, and I have been, all over Asia. I've been to all over the Indian Ocean. I've sailed around the Horn of Africa. I have sailed through the Panama Canal into the Pacific Ocean to El Salvador, all over the eastern United States, Gulf of Mexico, Puerto Rico, Guam, Japan, South Korea, Singapore. So, and that's just in 2.5 years. So I really have been all over the world. And the longer I do this, the more places I'm going to get to go. Another question I get asked a lot is, how many people do you cook for? And the answer is not many. It depends, really. The smallest crew I've ever cooked for is 17. The largest is probably about 40 something. I've been on military vessels where they do bring on the military, but that's only been about 100 people. And in that you get extra, if you go from like a crew of 40 and then the military comes on, you get extra people to help you. So it's not like just the same people are cooking for 100 people, you actually get extra help. Uh, Another thing people ask me is what's my day like? So I get up and I have my coffee, I go down to the kitchen and I start to work on, as a chief cook, I do lunch and dinner. So I get there, depending, usually anywhere between 5:30 and 7, depending on the ship and what the steward, who is the uh, supervisor of the department, wants you to do. And I start working on my soup. The menu's already made out. I know what I'm doing. The steward makes the menu. The stuff is already pulled and in the walk-in coolers. I pull all my stuff for the day. I start my soup and start working on lunch and dinner. I work until about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Then I have a break. Then I come back. I finish up dinner, serve dinner, clean up, and then do it all over the next day. My contracts are usually 120 days, although they can be shorter. The maximum is 120 days. They can be a 60-day relief, a 30-day relief, 77 days. It all depends, again, on the company and the ship that you're working on. And in that 120 days, there are no days off. I've worked one place where I would get a half afternoon off a week. That was an overtime thing. It wasn't anything like, hey, here's a gift of a half afternoon off a week. Or sometimes the captain will give you a half a day once a month. But other than that, you are working. I work in the steward department, so even on holidays, when other people are working either no overtime or kind of half days, we're working full time still. So, but it's totally worth it when you look at the money you make versus what you would do on land. I will take it any day. Are there many women? Usually not. I work in the steward department, so there tends to be more women in the steward department, but usually on a ship with a average size crew of 20 something, there's maybe 3, maybe 4 women on the crew in any given time. Most of them are, it tends to be a lot in the steward department, but there's usually at least one in the engine and at least one officer that is a woman. So that's just kind of the way it plays out. One of the things that this job is not for everyone. One of the downsides is that you're away from home. So if I mean, me personally, I don't think I would do this if I had small children. If, my circumstances were different, it probably wouldn't be for me. But my daughter is grown. My husband travels for work, so it really is, something that my husband and I have decided that, the time apart is worth all the time we get to be together when I'm home, because when I'm home, I'm home. I don't have to worry about going to work. I don't, and the schedule of me working is very flexible also. I could, as long as I work 125-ish days a year, I get all my benefits. So let me just make sure I didn't forget anything. Oh, are you afraid? A lot of times people ask me, and at first I was like, afraid of what? Being on a ship with all men. And I honestly have to say, I've worked in restaurants where, sexual harassment and all that nonsense is, pretty commonplace. But I have to actually say that on the ships, I have always been treated with the utmost respect by my shipmates. Nobody is disrespectful, not even off-colored jokes. I mean, you know, it's just it's not a place for that. So it's really never been an issue for me personally. And then I thought, well, you know, am I afraid of drowning, sinking, fires? Yes, a little bit. I guess that stuff could happen. You know, in storms, it gets a little, you know, dicey. And I'm sure I haven't been through anything horrible compared to what some people have seen. But I feel like I work with very competent people, and we do a lot of drills, and, you know, we drill almost every week. We have safety meetings, so I haven't encountered anything where I would be afraid for my life, nothing life-threatening. So I view it as relatively safe because of all the precautions and training that we do get. What kind of food do you cook? I cook mostly, you know, kind of ordinary, everyday things, although I have actually learned a lot about other cultures and other foods. Part of the reason why I love this job is so much is I work with people from all over the world. When we are in a different part of the world, we order things from, you know, South Korea, and you get these weird red bean ice creams and things like that. So you get to see a lot of different things. You know, I learned all about the Filipino dish pancit, because there's a lot of Filipinos usually on the cruise. So I, you know, get their input to see what they would like and how they make it at home. You know, I try to make things that are, you know, popular American dishes, but also from different cultures. You know, we always have our burger days or pizza days, steak nights, holiday meals. So, you know, it can be a variety. You usually try to do a sandwich for lunch. There's a soup made every day, usually 2 entrees, a sandwich and a lunch entree, and then, you know, 2 entrees for dinner. The steward makes the desserts and the breads, and they do breakfast. So it's, you know, you try to accommodate a variety, and it could change depending on the crew size, where you are, and what nationalities or backgrounds the crews have. And, you know, another question, not really a question, but I know what everyone wants to ask. Sometimes they might be a little too polite to ask it, is how much I actually make. Now, that's kind of a loaded question because there's all different kinds of ways that we get paid. So let's just say I make over $80,000 a year doing this. Now, on land, I would have to put in way more time, way more energy, way more everything to make that in a year. And, you know, when you add up everything, I average about maybe $14,000 a month. And it depends how much, you know, it depends on what ship, how much overtime you're getting, what the base pay is, what the vacation pay is, because usually you'll go on a ship and they'll say, okay, you get 15 days for every 30 days you work. So what that means is you get 15 days of your base pay for every 30 days you work. So in 4 months, you know, 120 days, you would come off with 60 days worth of your base pay. And sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, it depends on the contract. Now the big thing about all of this is health insurance. I get health insurance through the union, and I don't pay anything for it, which is incredible in this day and age. So my health care for myself and my husband, and if I had children, it's all covered and there's no fees involved with it, which is excellent. And the plan is actually really, really good too. Prescription plan, we have dental, eye, it's very good insurance. So as long as you sell a minimum amount in each year, you can continue to have your benefits covered. So there's certain things that they, certain time frames and how much you have to sell and be out on the job, but you get that. Another benefit is they have a school, so I can upgrade and revalidate my certificates and things through the school at no cost to me. Another benefit is, I got into this when I was 45, so I don't have a chance of really qualifying, I don't think, for much of a pension, if anything, but they do have like a 401k kind of deal, so I still get some money for retirement. So it's actually quite lucrative. And if I were a young person and getting into this, maybe right out of high school, this is a golden opportunity. You can go to school for free. You apply through the union and they pay for your education. You travel for free. You get all of these benefits. And sometimes I work with people who kind of complain about the job and everything, and I guess I do too. After 120 days, you just want to go home and be done with it. But it is just such a good opportunity, and you get paid so well for doing it. You have to really take into consideration you're making great money and you're getting great benefits also, and so is your family. What I love, one thing I really love about it is the flexibility. So I can take a job for 120 days, or I could say, if I really love that job, I could take a couple months off and go back. I could say, you know what, it's really not for me. I can finish my contract out and find something else. Maybe I have something upcoming, an event or something that I want to go to. I could take a job that is less time or wait until it's over. I have tons of time off in between contracts if I want it. If not, I can go right back out and continue making money and sailing. So it's very, very flexible. The downside, like I said, is you're away from home. Sometimes, I don't mind. I was a teacher when my daughter was little, so I got to spend all that time with her. And now kind of it's my turn to work on the holidays, so I don't really mind it, and you get compensated for it. So it's not really that big a deal. So that's it in a nutshell, but if you have any additional questions, put them down in the comments below and I'll try to answer them, whether it's, I just type an answer or make another video. If you found this helpful, give it a like. If you want to keep updated on, different things that I do with my cookbooks or different videos, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for watching.